topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Dallas, Texas. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where for the last 16 years we have brought you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We are doing a show this morning on supplements. Huge topic. Everybody, almost probably most people, take some type of supplement. And we have got the greatest guest with us today. And this is Dr. Walden, and we've got Casey Sartori from Integrative and Functional Medicine with us this morning, and we're going to be talking about different supplements. If you got a question, please write it in. We'll be more than happy to read it on air. Good morning, Casey.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
And good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you
too. So you work with Victory Wellness MD, and we're running on our scroll right now their phone number. I will be giving it out shortly. Casey, you're with a company called Integrative and Functional Medicine. Is that correct?
Orthomolecular products. Yeah.
And tell us about your company.
So we're manufacturers of dietary supplements that are available exclusively through licensed healthcare providers. And then my role as a consultant is to help to educate and train licensed healthcare providers on the application of these natural therapies.
You know, it's amazing when we started promoting the show several days ago, and you would not believe all the questions we got on one topic. And people wanted to know, are you making anything in a supplement form like Wachovia or Ozempic?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's certainly things out there in our space that have kind of ridden the coattails of these new GLP-1 agonists. There's certainly natural compounds that have been looked at over the last handful of years that have been shown to work with the body and naturally increase production of these satiety hormones.
I think the reason why a lot of people ask that question is a lot of people feel safer with supplements, than they do with prescription medicine, which is really amazing. But, a lot of people out there want to lose weight.
Sure.
There's so much about the supplement market. How large is it actually?
Well, it's interesting when you look at the last 20, 25 years of it. Just domestically since 2000, the supplement market has about doubled. So it's ballooned to about $35 billion in the United States alone. What's more interesting is that's projected to double and then double again over the next decade. So we will likely see $100 billion industry by the year 2030.
And is that worldwide, the 35 billion?
No, that's just domestically here in the States. Worldwide, that's a much bigger number. And that's largely been attributed by, I mean, just domestically or even internationally, the growth in the supplement industry. And I've been in my role now for going on a decade, but just in general interested in the supplement industry. Going back to my teenage years playing sports. At that time, you had to seek out the information, right? There was a handful of magazines back when people still read magazines. There were a handful of websites still doing some things, but now you can't get away from this information. It is seeking us out on the individual level, and a lot of that's being driven by the advent of social media. So there's just a lot of information out there right now. There's a lot of interest out there right now, and there's a lot of money being spent in our industry. And of course, anytime that there's money and there's opportunity for financial gain, that's going to rapidly increase the amount of vendors and sellers in our industry. And so that's what it's kind of hoping to do today, provide a little bit of clarification out there for the listeners on kind of a little bit how the sausage is made, and what to look, what role these different regulatory agencies play in our industry, and what to look for in the supplements that you might be interested in purchasing.
We have the FDA oversees prescription drugs. Who oversees the supplement drugs?
It's still the FDA. We just fall under, so it's the Food and Drug Administration. We fall under the food part of that oversight. So it's common. It's a very common notion out there that we are an unregulated industry. That's not the case at all. We are absolutely a regulated industry, but where the supplement industry is more heavily regulated is on the manufacturing side. And where the regulations get a little bit looser, or just a little bit more difficult to enforce, is more on the marketing and claims side of the business.
So you work with Victory Wellness, MD. What are some of the supplements that they use of yours, and what do they do?
I mean, that's a big question. Everything from your more foundational type nutrition products, right? Just filling gaps that inevitably exist in the standard American diet, whether it's multivitamins, omega-3s, or your fish oils, some different phytonutrients. And then there's more specific things that we can potentially address through a more natural approach, whether it be blood sugar issues or cholesterol issues, anything tied into cardiometabolic health or immune health or hormone health. So there's that's a big question. More geared towards the Dr. Walden's, personalized approach to medicine, and she can kind of hone in on what it is a particular patient may need based on their labs and their symptoms.
We just got our first text in from Amanda in Garland. What a great show topic. Can you ask your guest? I don't understand. It gets so confusing. One day, fish oils are good for you. The next day, you read they're not good for you. And I find that all of a sudden, I am so confused what works and what doesn't work.
I think everyone's confused. And that's because, again, just the very loose regulations around what people can say in our industry. And so you've got a big pie of a market, and then you've got everybody kind of trying to carve out their little niche. And in doing that, they're all creating their own little narratives. In my opinion, omega-3 status, which is looking at cellular incorporations of these essential fatty acids that are isolated in fish oil, EPA, and DHA, is one of the most predictive markers of cardiovascular disease, and frankly, potentially even all-cause mortality. So, my opinion, they're really, really important. And if you can't consume enough of these essential fatty acids, and they are essential because your body doesn't produce them, you have to consume them. If you're not consuming enough in your diet, which, let's face it, for the most part, most Americans are not, a supplement is a really, really good idea. But there's even within that, and how to select the, and maybe a question you were going to get to, but how to even know what to take, because you go into the retail stores, there's hundreds of different brands, there's different deliveries, there's different doses, different strengths, etc. How do you know what you're getting is actually a quality, in this case, fish oil?
Benny over the chat wants to know, are the supplements closer to nature than pharmacy meds?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these supplements are extracted from natural products, whether they're fish oils, whether they're phytonutrients, where medications are typically synthesized or synthetic compounds in a lab.
Kurt in Mesquite wants to know, can you take too many supplements?
Right. Absolutely. There's a lot of sure. I mean, there's a lot of redundancy product to product. There are absolutely dangers as far as toxicity. You have to be really careful with your fat solubles, so vitamin A, D, E, K. And that's why we work in the channel that we do, right? Our products are only available through licensed healthcare providers. We think that these things should be used under the guidance of a qualified healthcare professional. That's why our products are only available, through providers like Dr. Walden at Victory Wellness MD.
Nate in Frisco wants to know, what are your feelings on gummies? Are they effective?
Typically, they're very subtherapeutic. And if there's certain applications where they're swallowing a capsule or mixing up a powder, is absolutely not an option. Gummies kind of fill that role, but you also have to consider what else is in the gummies. There's a lot of manufacturing byproducts and binders and sweeteners that are used to make these things both palatable and also keep their consistency right. So be sure to look at the nutrition facts and account for any additional, particularly sugar that might be in, or artificial sweeteners that might be in your gummy products. But then also consider too, like, what are you trying to achieve? What are the therapeutic amounts of any particular raw material that you're looking to accomplish, and make sure that that is actually what's in the product. And that goes not just for gummies, that goes for any product.
Listen, you've got so much experience in this industry. Casey, what are some of your concerns?
A lot of my concerns are around the growth of the industry and who's now involved in the industry. Where 15, 20 years ago, you had supplement companies selling supplements. Now, a lot of what we have are marketing companies using supplements to profit. And so it's not always with the, there are obviously bad apples in every industry, but I think anytime there's financial incentive, it's going to potentially dictate how these products are made, as far as maybe sourcing cheaper raw materials, using subtherapeutic levels, but quality control might not be there. So you just need to be really, really careful with where you're getting your products from. Make sure these are reputable companies. Ideally, you're working with a licensed healthcare professional to kind of guide you in the right direction. And then a second concern of mine is the science, or not necessarily the lack of science, but the leaps that are made to basically take benefits in a lab, right? So what I mean by that is taking effectively a petri dish that has a couple cells in it, and then applying a compound, and whether a natural compound to those cells, those cells exerting some type of beneficial action, and then the marketing and selling of a product based off that science, when that doesn't necessarily fully extrapolate into benefits in humans when we consume these products, and it goes through the digestive tract and our body needs to absorb it and all the different interactions that happen there. So don't jump on the hype train a lot of the times, because the hype and the marketing is so far ahead of where the science actually is. And be very, very careful with where you're buying these products from, and understand that, social media influencers, they have an agenda, right? They are looking to profit. So the things that they're talking about and trying to sell you, that's their livelihood, and it's not always with your best interest in mind.
Casey, I cannot believe you brought that up. I saw there's so many ads on TikTok and online, and I saw an ad, and what really I bought into is Mark Cuban was endorsing it. And if you've ever watched his shows, he's always stayed away from supplements. He always said, "Oh, I don't believe in them. They're not," which is a very broad statement. But all of a sudden, he's promoting this weight loss product that a lady by accident discovered at Harvard. Oh, Casey, it was like, wow, this is a no-brainer. But the first red flag that I saw is they would give you a price, but then when you went to buy it, oh, that's the price if you buy 5 bottles, not one bottle. That's a red flag right there. And so, idiot me bought into it, bought the 5 bottles. I didn't lose 1 pound, but their marketing sure was good.
Yeah. Like I said, you'd probably be pretty hard pressed to find anything about the actual science and research supporting the claims that they were making in that marketing material, but also just about the manufacturing and where that product was even made, where those raw materials are coming from.
Who is verifying the claims being made by the supplement vendors?
Well, again, that falls under the FDA. And a lot of times the FDA doesn't, unless you're being really, really egregious with your claims. And there are certain words that will absolutely put a bullseye in your back. We saw a lot of people, companies, influencers, etc., getting in trouble during COVID in marketing products specifically for that. But for the most part, it's there just isn't the oversight there to police this massive industry. And so unless you're saying something really egregious, or unless your product winds up hurting somebody, you're likely to not get any more than just a little slap on the wrist from the FDA saying, "Hey, don't do that." So there's not much there to deter those who want to be a little hyperbolic with their marketing.
How do you spot a quality product?
There's a lot of different things you can look for depending on the type of the product. I look for products coming straight from the manufacturer. So and unfortunately that rules out a large majority of like your social media brands, right? When you look at the address, the company on the bottle, you'll see distributed by, or you'll see manufactured for. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad product, but I like the comfort of knowing exactly where my product is manufactured. And if the company that I'm buying that supplement from is the actual manufacturer, I know that they've got control of the process from raw material acquisition all the way through the bottling and distribution of that product. So like Ortho, for instance, we do manufacture everything that we sell. So we have complete control, complete oversight of the manufacturing process, where if you see that little manufactured for, or you see that distributed by, that is a brand that's just kind of repackaged their products, and in all likelihood, they've sourced out their manufacturing to the cheapest bidder. But there's other things too, whether, if you're looking at a fish oil, again, confirming, fish oil was talked about earlier, confirming that the form of that oil is actually in the triglyceride form, which is, the form that it exists in nature. If you're eating a fillet of salmon, you are receiving those essential fatty acids in the triglyceride form. Looking for actual therapeutic amounts. So many times you'll see, or in the case of fish oil, looking for therapeutic amounts of EPA and DHA. Those are the really important components of those fatty acids. If you're following most American Medical Association, American Heart Association recommendations, a gram a day is a good place to start. A lot of your fish oil products, they might be delivering a gram of omega-3s, but only a small portion of that is EPA and DHA. So bigger conversation, but understand and learn how to read supplement facts boxes. Read the supplement facts box and know what you're looking at.
Here's a good question from Marty. She's in Plano.
Mm-hmm.
Great show. I wish you would do the show more often. Well, we do the show once a month. Her question is, she said, I have bought my supplements in Whole Foods thinking because they're more expensive, they're better. Is that necessarily true?
I'm sure the products you're getting from Whole Foods are good quality products. You do get what you pay. You do get what you pay for in this industry, for the most part. You do pay for a lot of marketing, and you do pay for a lot of other things. But yeah, I would feel comfortable with probably a majority of the products in a retailer like Whole Foods.
What separates ortho molecular products from, say, retail brands?
Sure. Well, like I say, we only sell to and through licensed healthcare providers. We do not have any type of retail presence. We are not, social media influencers aren't peddling our products. Celebrities aren't endorsing our products. The only way that we sell a product is when a licensed healthcare professional recommends our products to their patients. And so with that just comes a lot of responsibility as a manufacturer, because everything that we do as a manufacturer is all geared towards driving good outcomes in doctors' offices. Again, because that's the only way that our products are used. So efficacy is literally validated hourly, right, on our products, because they are being used by doctors who are managing their patients. They're managing labs, they're managing symptoms, and they need to see improvements. So you can know that when you are being recommended an ortho product from your healthcare provider, like Dr. Walden, it is the absolute best product available, whether it's from a raw material perspective, whether it's from a manufacturing perspective, whether it's from a therapeutic dosing and formulations perspective. Everything that we do is of the absolute highest pedigree. Because it has to be. If we cut any corners in any areas and our products stop delivering in doctors' offices, if our vitamin D doesn't positively influence a serum vitamin D level, doctors aren't going to be recommending our products. And if they're not recommending our products, our business model crumbles.
Yes. If a person owns a supplement store, can they contact you?
Unfortunately, well, it depends. They have to have. We only work with a select few licenses, so you have to have a certain medical license to be able to purchase our products at wholesale. So you work with your local MD, your local ND, NP, RN, your chiropractors. There's only a handful of licenses that have access to our products.
Okay. Casey, what a great job. I hope you come back again. The name of the wellness center is Victory Wellness MD. You can go to www.vwmdfunctionalmedicine.com. Their phone number is 469-713-2055. Please tell them you heard it on the Ask the Experts. Casey, thank you so much. And again, I hope we see you again.
Hey, absolutely. Anytime, Steve.
Okay, but hey, that's Casey Sartori of Integrative and Functional Medicine. Victory Wellness MD is with us every month. They'll be back in with us next month. And we're going to go to a short break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.